Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the... It's not SH Figure Arts technically, is it? I haven't reviewed one of these in forever. I don't think it is. I think it's just a separate thing. It's its own thing. It's the Saint Seiya line of figures. I guess they have their own thing. I don't know. Anyway, it's still Bandai. It's Tamashii Nations. It's Saint Seiya Myth Cloth EX. Or Saint Cloth Myth. You know what? It's different depending on where you're watching it, where you're getting the info. So, you know what? Pick whichever one you like, okay? It's Phoenix IKKI. Final Bronze Cloth. Do you say Saint Seiya Myth Cloth? Or do you say Saint Cloth Myth? Which one do you say? Let me know. Anyway, you guys have asked me to review these guys a lot. And I reviewed one or two a while ago, a long while ago. And this one looked pretty cool, so I reached out to Big Bad Toy Store, asked for a review sample, and they said, sure, have a review sample. So here it is. Thanks to them. Big thanks to them, because this guy's pretty darn cool, and you guys get the review that you were asking for. As of right now, unfortunately, he is sold out at Big Bad Toy Store. That doesn't mean he will be sold out forever. He might be popping back and forth, in and out, so I would keep an eye out. I'll put a link in the description below. You can check it out. He might be there, he might not. There's no telling, but it's worth looking. Anyway, this guy's pretty darn cool, so let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. Okay, before we look at the figure, I do want to show you my package. It is not a window package, but it does show the figure right there, and I understand there's some controversy over his final color scheme. At least I'm pretty sure that was the case. I didn't really pay that much attention to this release before it came out, but it still looks pretty good in hand. It may not be exactly what they showed in their promo stuff originally, but it still looks pretty darn good. And the packaging is okay. For not being a window box, it is a decent package, though I always prefer a window unless you can't get the figure in the package in a way that looks nice. But there you go. Alright, so let's take a look at this guy. He stands to the top of where his head would be, about 16.5 centimeters, about closer to 18 if you count the hair and this thing and all that. But he's got some size to him for sure. They're definitely bigger than standard figure arts. I guess that's why they're not figure arts. And that's going to be about 7 1/8 overall. Let's call it 6.5 to the top of where his head would be. Here he is up against the Marvel Legends Darwin. So he's big. He's a biggin. Darwin's head is missing. I don't know where it went. I'll have to find it. Alright, let's do a question of the day. Are you guys into this stuff? These figures in particular? Are you into the anime and not the figures? The manga? I don't know. I'm not super into this. I have very minimal knowledge about Saint Cloth Myth. Seiya, whatever it is. I think the designs are cool though. They're super cool, but the figures have just never really scratched that itch for me. So let me know what you guys think. However, I will say this one is impressive as heck. It has lots of chrome on it, obviously, which is just gorgeous, and a lot of die cast, which is good and bad, and we're going to get into it. So if you're not familiar with the line, the thing is, like, all of the armor is not part of the figure. It can be removed, or actually you have to put it on him in the first place. I don't think the figures look very good without the armor. You'll see, I'll put a photo on there. I'm not going to take it all off on camera. They don't look good without it, so I think you really need to keep the armor on them, personally, or there's really no point. But the armor does also turn into, I guess it's different animals. This guy's a phoenix, you'll see. I'll post a photo of that as well. But yeah, the figures look like crap if you ask me without the armor. With the armor, they look gorgeous. Now, this guy is a lot of die cast, so he has some heavy parts, and his joints aren't really strong enough. As you can see, if I lean him back, he falls. But if you don't do that, he looks really good. Now, before you think I'm a doofus, the reason he only has 2 of these connected to him, I'll explain later. Okay, so let's talk about the aesthetic. The chrome plating is freaking nuts. These are super lightweight pieces back here, these wings, which is a great choice. They feel like they're probably ABS. They're very thin. They're like super duper thin. But man, is that gorgeous. That silvery blue. Oh goodness, with the chrome, it is just, this is one of the coolest looking pieces of an action figure I've ever handled. Why can't we get something like this for Archangel? Hasbro. Yeah, right. So that's really nice. We have different kinds of, not exactly chrome plating, but very metallic metal throughout with very different colors for the blues, for the armor throughout. Silvery blues, some gold, some red. This gold is chrome, like vac metal, right here on his head. That's very nice and shiny. It looks really good. Very nice detail work too on the very center part of that. Yeah, he is nice. The metallic parts are just wonderful. So I guess the chrome is really just the wings and the crown piece, and the rest is all just metallic. This is, well, I guess the red. The red is, I guess, too. I would have thought this would be, but I guess they wanted them to match because this doesn't have to be. Anyway, they did a really good job with the metals. It looks really nice. Love it, love it, love it. That's really all there is to comment on because his body is just very bland underneath, other than the head. So let's talk about the face. Faces are done really well. He's got I guess it's a scar between his eyes. When you put the regular hair on, you can see it more. This is the hair for the crown thing, so you can't really see it. But the hair's sculpted really well, and the faces are sculpted and painted really well. Standard Tamashii Nations type stuff. So yeah, he's a gorgeous looking figure, for sure. I love the chrome. It's so nice. So nice. And then it's just a really good character design that they executed well with all the armor. So aesthetically, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Really well done. I still don't understand why the bodies are so crappy looking. Like, I've thought this forever. Why don't they make the bodies underneath look a little bit better? It just seems weird to me. Anyway, as far as accessories go, like I said, you can take all of the armor off and turn it into the Phoenix. So you can do that. I wouldn't. I understand you might want to. I wouldn't because the figure looks so much better with it all on, but you do have some options. So you don't have to have the wings on. He has an alternate back plate that doesn't have ports for the wings, so if you want to remove the wings, you can do that. Both back plates, though, do have the 3 ports for the Phoenix tail thingies. And that's cool because you get the 3 straight Phoenix tail thingies and 3 curvy ones for poses. They're not bendable or anything, so don't do that. But you get those options. However, in order to connect them to the armor bird, you get this little piece right here, which is how they come in the package. The 3 straight ones are connected to it, and I cannot remove it. I can't get this last one out, so I haven't been able to put all 3 pieces on him in his armor, other than the curvy ones. The curvy ones work no problem. But yeah, this piece right here is just not letting go, so unfortunately that sucks. But you do get 6 of the total tail things, 3 straight, 3 posed. For faces, you get 5 of them. Very nice assortment, very well executed. That's good. The 2 different hair pieces, one for the crown piece, one for without. And then you get a bunch of hands, which are nicely sculpted and probably all you would need. So yeah, it's a good spread of accessories. No base or anything like that, which I guess you don't really need, but they used to sell, and I actually have some. I'll probably end up selling mine, honestly. Accessory sets just for these guys with bases and stands and effect parts and things. I don't think those are available anymore, though. But yeah, it's a good enough spread of accessories, especially if you count the armor. So I'll say 8 out of 10. It would be nicer if the tail thing was usable. Okay, so now here's the hard part. We have to do the articulation, and we'll start with the easy stuff. The wings. Because they have like little attachment pieces for when you put it on the bird, but for him it's just a basic setup, which is good. So the wings have a hinge like that, you can see that very clearly, and then of course they can rotate on their peg, that's good. These guys have built-in hinges, so you can rotate and hinge as necessary. You probably won't really need to do that too much. Alright, so there's that. And then it's like fighting with a Lego kit that hasn't been fully assembled to try to pose this guy. Things are going to pop off and get in the way and be too heavy and be annoying. Now, with the crown face thingy on and the armor and everything, it's going to be hard for you to pose the head because there's very, very little room in there for him to move. It'll be doable, but it's very, very limited. And I don't care what he poses like without the armor, personally. It's better, of course, because the armor's not in the way, but he can't pose very well. The joint is okay, like there's a ball peg in there. I think his neck is actually a ball hinge, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it is. But it's okay. Like, you can pose him, but don't expect anything dramatic. Now, for the shoulder pads, they connect on like a little hinge, and that's fine. And then these guys are technically a separate hinge. Here, I'll show you. They pop off very easily, by the way. That little Lego hand. So there's a little bit of stuff going on here, but it's not super useful, really. There's not a whole lot of actual movement in the shoulder pieces, so just be aware of that. It's gonna probably pop off as you're handling the figure. A lot. Alright, but there we go. Now for the shoulders, you just see it right there. Giant ball peg. The whole arm moves around on that ball peg. It's very stiff, but it does work, so if you want to use that, you can. Basic ball hinge raises the arm up, no problem. Rotation is fine. Double jointed elbow, it works, but you have to move the armor, at least on this side, and it doesn't rotate because of how stiff it fits onto the figure, how snug, you have to actually pop the hand off and pull this off to rotate it, so that's annoying. If you put it like this, if you put it on like the back part, then it won't be a problem. But if you put it this way, this side works, and I'll show you. He has good elbows, good range, ugly, but even with the armor, pretty good range. Then the wrists are little ball hinges. I feel like the hands don't fit on quite as far as I would like with the armor on. For these pieces, the forearm pieces and the shins, it seems like they don't go quite as far as you want them to, so that's kind of annoying. For the torso, forget posing it really with the armor on. You're going to get some twisting, but there's no room for anything to move. And so, like I said before, I've just never really gotten into this line because it looks really cool, but as far as action figures go, it's only in name, really. They're not action-y. They're so limited because of the armor. For the hips, like, so you have flaps here, but as with Dragon Ball figures, we know these flaps work somewhat, but they don't work great. They end up looking goofy and sticking out and getting in the way, but you can move the leg if you want to. It goes out to the side, no problem. Just a basic ball peg in there. So it's okay. Like, yeah, you have to be into this line, I think, or into figures that don't need to pose a lot. Thigh swivel is fine. Double jointed knee with the armor, still pretty good range. Not bad. Definitely not tight enough to support weight, heavy weight, which he is with all the die-cast armor, so be aware of that. Then the ankles actually can rotate, but with the armor on, let me do this. With the armor on, you're not really going to get that much range out of the ankles, which is really unfortunate, because without the armor on, you get tons, but there's really no point in doing that, is there? So, the ankle rocker is kind of nice. It's an old school hinge, which I enjoy. But yeah, it's just not going to pose very well. And then the toe hinge is just an abomination of a design choice. Why did they do that? Why does it have the tiniest little hinge right there and then a giant gap? Like, it's, I guess, better than nothing, but that's not how you should do that. So, yeah, his posability is, shall we say, unimpressive, which is just par for the course for this line. So I think if you're into this line, you're okay with that. And if you're trying to get into this line, you better be okay with it. They're really all about looks and having the removable armor. That's about it. I don't think the standard releases have die cast every time. I'm pretty sure some of them just have the plastic like back here, but I could be wrong about that. I haven't been into the myth stuff in forever, so Saint Seiya stuff, I guess I should say. So I don't know for sure, but his articulation, yeah, it's like a 4 out of 10 with the armor on, which is an important part. So yeah, it is what it is. But the armor is gorgeous and it does connect pretty well. Like, nothing fell off as we were handling it, so that's good. But you're definitely going to want to consider the armor being on for posing if you are new to the line. Okay, so time for the final verdict. I think if you're into this line, you're going to like this release. The armor is gorgeous. The chrome wings are just excellent. Accessories are good. Yeah, I don't really have any complaints. You have to just accept it for what it is. And in that case, I'm going to give this guy a, I'm going to say 8 out of 10 because the Phoenix tail thingy not working is a problem. And he does have fairly limited range, even compared to some of the other ones I've seen in some places. So it's not a perfect figure by any means, but it is really good. And you could easily argue that he deserves a higher score just because he looks so good, and you're accepting the flaws of the style of this figure in general. But that's up to you. I've given you the best information I can, and so that's it for me. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, but thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos just about every single day, and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.